when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
And a happy Halloween to you all. Yes, happy Halloween, the end of October. It's unbelievable. And it is Halloween 2024. And it is me, not in costume. It's Rich Mancuso. Though many say that I'm always in costume. There goes my rubber foam coming off my wire, my set again. I'll put it up again later. Part of the tools in this business that you need. It's keeping in the ring, whatever. I'm Rich Mancuso, live this Thursday, October 31st, Halloween night. Welcome all. Hope you had a great week. Hope you're having a good night and a safe one as always, as we keep it in the ring with you. My social media handles, as always, at the bottom of the screen, ring786, X when we Twitter, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, Instagram, and of course, you can always get my content, latinosports.com. And also Spring Punk Entertainment and NewYorkSportsDay.com, among others. The fight calendar, not many, but some, including this weekend, that we'll talk about at the bottom of your screen. And of course, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel here on YouTube, Rich Mancuso. Many of you are, and the rest of you coming in tonight, please do. And also keeping the ring page like that, Shrink Punk Entertainment, and the AGT Network as well. We're all over the place. This is Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. A full hour. We'll talk boxing. We're going to talk WWE and AEW at the bottom of the hour. A lot of that this week, including WWE Crown Jewel, implications there leading to Survivor Series, and much more, the nostalgia as well. So let's get to it and talk about the events that happened over the weekend and a lot more coming up this coming week and the weeks ahead, especially in boxing. And let's first of all get to the significance of this junior welterweight fight that happened over the weekend in the UK with Regis Prograis, who said now that he admits against Jack Catterall, where he lost, as you know, on the zone. He admitted it's time for the youngsters now to take over. All right. Now, this is his second straight loss. Of course, you know, last year he was demolished, as I would say, against the champion Devin Haney, where Prograis lost all those rounds. Jake Catterall, 30-1 with 13 knockouts, with the 12-round unanimous decision over Prograis, who was a two-time WBC champion. Now, Prograis pressed the action. And as you look at the punch stats briefly, he pressed, he landed harder punches, but the punch stats told the story again, as they always do. He did get the knockdown in round 5 over Catterall, who's a gained and proud fighter right now, and was the guy that he wanted to fight. Prograis wanted Catterall. Catterall wanted Prograis. It was a fight that was in making, was pushed back because of an injury sustained in training camp by Catterall. Now, knocked down in round 5, Catterall put Prograis down then in round 9. The rest was history. 117-108, 116-109, 116-109, what the scorecards. The story here for Prograis is what's next. This is still a fighter that has some ability, but has not shown it in his last 2 fights. And you can say very wisely that Prograis' skills have diminished a bit, and coming off now the loss to Devin Haney, perhaps that had an effect. But aging sometimes with a fighter happens quickly. Prograis doesn't look his age, and nor does he act like it, and has a great mental and physical ability to continue. But he said now, after the fight, just about saying, I've had enough. He'll try something else. I don't know what it'll be. And knowing a fighter who says he's giving it up to give it over to the youngsters, and he's not that much older than a lot of fighters out there today, it's just that he's in a division that's very, very competitive. And after 2 straight losses, and this one to Catterall and the one before to Devin Haney, it's difficult for Regis Prograis to get up the ladder again in the most highly touted competitive division of junior welterweights at 140. And you take a look at what Eddie Hearn, his promoter at Matchroom, said, the winner of this fight would get the winner of either Leon Perot, the champion, who's fighting Richardson Hitchkins on December 7th in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Paro is the IBF champ and is, of course, Matchroom property with Eddie Hearn. Or he could get maybe Catterall, some of the others that are highly touted and rated and champions in what has become the most interesting and competitive division by far in this sport. And that could either be WBO champ Teofimo Lopez. Try to get him on this program, and I'm going to keep trying to do it. Lopez not fighting the rest of the year, looking at early next. Or he can get Devin Haney, who's still a champion in division that demolished Regis Prograis, or Jose Ramirez, or Sobrio Mateus, who recently lost the title this year, the former champion, at his homecoming in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Regardless, this is an interesting division. Prograis Catterall was obviously a fight that was anticipated, but did not go to Regis Prograis' way, the way he wanted it to be. I don't think we've seen the end of Regis Prograis. Now, I don't know him well, but I know some of the people involved at Matchroom and around Regis Prograis who say that might have just been boxing talk after sustaining another loss. The quest, though, to get back into title contention is much more difficult. And with the names I just leveled out in this highly competitive division, it's going to be that much more difficult for Regis Prograis to get back on top. He says for now he's handing it over to the youngsters, those that might be more well-deserving than him for a title shot and those that are coming up the ladder. True, but a fighter, as I always says, has it in their blood. It's there. They just don't want to give it up. And Regis Prograis is very healthy, sustained minimal damage in his last couple of fights, minor things, bruises, abrasions, and, what a fighter goes through in a championship fight, whatever. I don't think he's done, my friends. I think he'll be back. Maybe he'll take a year off. He's got plenty of time to think about it. And maybe he'll be back in there to try and get back up the ladder. Again, though, the task much more difficult. As for Jay Catterall, any one of those guys that I mentioned, including Teofimo or Henny or even Ramirez, that could be an option for him next. Catterall is a very underrated fighter, and even Regis Prograis made mention of that through Eddie Hearn. And we saw more what Jay Catterall, who's been around, can do. We saw he has power, he has some speed, and he has the agility. And most of all, he got the most important, significant win, I believe, last Saturday of his career. But Prograis again said he's best. He's fought in his career by a mile. Huge statement by Regis Prograis. Let's move on quickly. Let's talk more in that 140-pound junior welterweight division. Let's look at Ryan Garcia. Not much on X lately. He's been quiet. I don't know why, but on Instagram, he's posing for Halloween today. Here's an image saying that he's spooky. Well, Ryan Garcia is always spooky by things that come out of his mouth. We haven't seen any training video lately from Ryan Garcia. We hear him once in a while still talking about waiting for the suspension to be over, waiting to get back in there in the ring as soon as the suspension is lifted at the beginning of April in the new year. Talking more about Devin Haney again, that possibly the fight with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney will happen again. I guarantee you, as I told you last week, my friends, that fight will happen again. Logistics involved in all lawsuits, litigation, and Henny against Garcia for saying that it was detrimental to him that night in the ring because of using steroids. The continued words with Garcia and Bill Henny, Devin Henny's father, that will be ongoing. And the reason it will be ongoing is because Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney are bound to fight again. It will be a fight in demand. I still, every day, hear people buzzing about another Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney fight. So we'll see where that goes. In the meantime, Henny is talking more on social media about what might be next. and he's requesting the Zone, the streaming network, of course, with Eddie Hearn involved. They removed him from all platforms, even YouTube, about that fight with Garcia. And he says he wants that happening because he wants to know that this fight never happened. Well, it did happen. We know it happened. Now it's up to the Zone and YouTube at Henny's request to remove the footage. It won't be removed unless Devin Henny decides another lawsuit is coming. The rights are with the Zone on that, so they won't be removed. YouTube, I guess you could remove the logistics on that. I can ask my great producer behind the scenes, Scott Churchton, more about that because he's involved in that stuff. But that's what Devin Henny says. He's requesting the Zone and YouTube to remove the fight footage from that April 1st fight with Ryan Garcia that ended up going his way to a certain extent. But for Ryan Garcia, caught red-handed with the steroids that caused the suspension. So we'll see what results in that. But again, we'll keep looking out to see if there's any clue or hint or anything that could happen to have Garcia, Henny, at some point in the new year. Matchroom extend their WBC flyweight champion Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez to a contract, a new promotional deal. Good move. He's one of the most exciting fighters in the sport. It's with because Rodriguez has a November 9th bout with Pedro Guerrera at the Wells Fargo Center down in Philadelphia. That's coming up in about a week, believe it or not. He's in the co-main event on the Gerard Boutsenis defense of one of his 147-pound title belts. Another homecoming for Boutsenis coming up November 9th. Bam Bam, of course, exciting. 20-0, 13 knockouts. He said his goal in the new year is to become undisputed. And knowing Bam Bam the way he is and how aggressive he is, I'm sure we'll try and get unification in that division. Again, if the belts could stay unified, because boxing never finds a way to do that. Saturday on ESPN Plus, you have it. It's not on the free channel, but we get the anticipated rematch. Robson Conceição and Oshaki Forster. The WBC Super featherweight title, top rank promoted. Of course, Conceição won their first fight by split decision, controversial in July, and immediately it was forced to tell him Conceição and the world, the title was stripped from me, and indeed it was. Bad decision. 3 blind mice at ringside again did it the wrong way, the judges. And so the wish was granted, or the request, rather, was granted. Shakib Forster, now an exciting fighter in this division, has a shot for redemption. All fighters love redemption, especially when they are robbed and a title is stripped from them because of the injustice in this sport of 3 blind mice judges at ringside. So look for this fight. Going to be a good rematch Saturday night. And I believe Forster regains the title, not to diminish any of the skills of Conceição, who fought a good first one with Forster, yet he wasn't the one that won that fight. Easily Forster won that fight, got robbed of the decision and stripped of the title. So you know now redemption is on Forster's mind. It's been there since they fought earlier this year. ESPN Plus this weekend. It's going to be a good one. And we'll see, I believe, Shakib Forster. My pronunciation, I'm sorry. It's Halloween. He'll win the title back. All right. This is Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. My YouTube channel live, Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, and subscribe. AGT Network, String Punk Entertainment, and like the Keep It in the Ring page as well. Now, I have a special guest, bringing them on early on the program because there's a lot to talk about. And we'll focus more on the heavyweight division with him and everything else. If you saw my post, I teased you with it. If he's there, Scott, we'll bring him in. I think I told him to come in 5 minutes. I might be a little early with it. But if Fres Oquendo, a great heavyweight fighter out of Puerto Rico, now living in Chicago, Illinois, he's going to be my guest on the program. I hope we can have Scott. Is he there Yet. Just give me a thumbs up or no. He's not there yet. Okay, so we're gonna wait on Fres Oquendo because I told him to come in like in 5 minutes, and I think we're just gonna line him up, and we might go to a break in between them. But let me background you a little bit before we bring Fres Oquendo on. Now, I covered a few of his fights, including one in San Antonio back then when he fought Evander Holyfield. He finished a career that was exceptional. Yet, here's another example of a fighter in the heavyweight division that, to me, was underrated. Underrated and didn't get the acclaim he deserved. Out of Puerto Rico, one of the great fighters out of San Juan, Puerto Rico, the island of champions, despite what someone said in politics during the week about Puerto Rico. I'm sure Fres Oquendo, was called you truly disagrees with all of that. Now, Puerto Rico has produced some great champions in the sport. Oquendo was one of them, as well as a constant contender in the heavyweight division until he decided it's time to hang up the gloves. He does run a boxing academy now in his native Chicago, Illinois, where he resides right now. His mental capacities and abilities are still there. No harm from boxing over the years. He is going to be inducted into the Illinois Boxing Martial Arts Hall of Fame. I'm going to talk to him about that. He fought Evander Holyfield, the former great heavyweight champion in the Hall of Fame. He fought James Toney, another great one. And he fought another fellow Puerto Rican who became the first heavyweight champion from Puerto Rico, John Ruiz. If we remember that very well. So, again, Fres Oquendo, we're waiting for him to come on the program in a few minutes. Underrated, very much a part of boxing history, very much a staple of the great boxing tradition from Puerto Rico. I'm working on a documentary, by the way, folks, about fighters and their impact and what they've done out of Puerto Rico, the Puerto Rican heritage, and how fighters from that great island have become champions and continue to be a big part, major part of the sport, either as champions or rising up to become a champion as Fres Oquendo was. All right, Scott, let's do this. Let's take a brief time out, and we'll wait for him to come on, and I'm sure he will. This is Keep It in the Ring, Rich Mancuso. Let's take a brief time out and wait for Fres Oquendo to come on rather than me babbling on and on. I'll be right back. This is Rich Mancuso. Keep It in the Ring. Stay with us.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
All right, Scott, we still don't have him in the cube. Waiting for Fres Oquendo. I did text him. I called him. I don't know, but he should be coming in soon. In the meantime, let's just continue to babble on here and talk about. For sure, comments are important to the program. Do so. And what do you think about what I said at the opening of the program tonight? Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Is it going to happen again? And what do you think about Forster and Canseco this weekend? By the way, that's up at the Turning Point Stone Casino up by Canastota, where the home of the Boxing Hall of Fame is. Does Forster get his title back? And what do you think about overall what's going on in the sport in general? I mean, we're coming towards the end of the year almost. in boxing, which has seen some great fights this year, but usual controversy as well. And I think the sport, as I tell many, may not be getting the mainstream publicity and hype that it truly deserves, but is healthy in the financial aspect because of all the streaming networks that are involved. And when you see pay-per-view numbers dwindling, but the streaming networks still involved, you got to know that the sport is okay. What makes the sport not okay is the fact that it's the lowest sport on the totem pole. And that never was the case over the years in the history of this great sport of boxing. It's because we don't have newspapers no more, and social media dominates the sport, and that's where you're getting your information, YouTube channels like mine and everywhere else, and you're getting to see the sport through social media, and you're getting to see the sport develop more as fighters continually try and make their own fights on social media. And then you have Canelo Alvarez, who's the face of boxing, as you know, fights 2 times a year at 168, who continues to dominate and make a lot of money until he says, I don't want it no more. And is he the face of boxing? Is he considered pound for pound best, or is it Terrence Bud Crawford, who's making a mark now at 154? So I want to know your thoughts. Is boxing healthy? Is boxing a dead sport? Which I totally disagree. It is not dead. All right, I think Fres just texted me, and just bear me a second. I want to get Fres Oquendo before we proceed. He's linking on now, so he'll be with us in a moment. And again, to just transition a bit, happy Halloween. I thought I'd come on and imitate someone, and Halloween's not my favorite time of year holiday, as it is. Here's The Undertaker, though. Because of my life in pro wrestling a long time, there is The Undertaker. He's my Halloween gift. He's the trick or treat this year. The Undertaker. Mark Calaway, who's still behind the scenes in pro wrestling, as you know. All right. Thank you, Kaden. Happy Halloween to you as well. We're getting into the holiday season, and I'm babbling on, waiting for Fres Oquendo, and I'm also babbling on because I'm tired. Baseball season's over, and I spent 3 long days and nights at Yankee Stadium this week covering the World Series. And disappointing time for Yankee fans, as you know. And a lot of fighters were at those games as well, including Edgar Berlanger. I didn't get to see them, but they were there as well. All right, Scott, do we have Fres yet? We do get this. When you have a live show and you have a live guest, this is what's going to happen. And what I could do is just continue till he comes on, and we'll move along. He's not there as of yet. We still don't have him. He hasn't been able to log on. I don't know why, but Scott, let's move on. Let's get out of boxing till I can get him. My apologies to you. This happens when you're doing a live broadcast. Let's go on to UFC news in the meantime. Do some of that, Scott. And then maybe when Fres locks on, we'll take a little break from that and go back to it. All right. Dana White in the news with the UFC, and it's because of Francis Ngannou, who decided to become a pro fighter in the heavyweight division. And there's a war of words going on because Francis Ngannou decided to leave UFC, go into boxing and vice versa, and doing some other things. But Francis Ngannou is saying it's more about money than signing with the PFL, another combat sports promotion. And Dana White's been vocal about it. And here is some of Dana White's comments as he had on X, formerly Twitter, earlier this week. Roll that, Scott.
Clay's the good guy. I don't understand the language. And, so he seems like he's a nice guy. He's not. And he's just not a guy that I wanted to be in business with. We'll never be in business together. Yeah. We don't like each other. He pulled some shit before the first Stipe fight, and then Stipe beat the shit out of him. Great night. He actually, he owes me money because we had to watch that fight with him and the Black Beast. He should actually pay me back for that fight. Me praying for it, trust me. I don't think about Francis that much. The only one who's praying for his demise is probably the PFL because they signed a shitty contract with a guy that doesn't deliver any numbers and ticket sales or pay-per-views. So, Francis.
All right, the war of words. Dana White and Francis Ngannou. I mean, that is the war of words, and that's going to continue. That's ongoing, and we'll talk more about that as it develops. Ngannou says that he's interested in fighting John Jones, but says Dana White is standing in his way. So let's see how that develops. We'll get back to some USC stuff, but now I'm getting word that. Is he there? Do we have? Okay, let's put him on. Here he is, Fres Oquendo.
Hey, how
Thanks
you
for
doing,
coming on,
man?
my friend. Sorry if you
What?
had a problem linking, but you're
Yeah,
here. You're here with Rich Mancuso and Keep It in the Ring. How
cool,
are you,
cool.
champ? Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I finally get to talk to you after so long, one
Yeah,
on one. A great fighter in the heavyweight division at one time, and more so a great human being. I was cueing fans in about a little bit about your background and the fact that you fought Evander Holyfield, James Toney, and John Ruiz among the illustrious heavyweights in that division where you are superior, my friend.
thank you.
And you had a great career and a great career. Now, just background, you're living in Chicago, Illinois now, right?
Yep, that's how I was raised. Yep.
Right. And you represent Puerto Rico very much as well as one of the great fighters to come off that island and represent the sport. And you still represent the sport real well.
Hmm.
Tell us more about what you're doing with young people where you live out there in Illinois. You're helping young people in the sport, for the sport, and for other things. Tell us a little bit about that as Scott, my producer, shows some images of that. What
Oh, cool.
exactly is the goal of your academy?
Well, I was one of those kids, underprivileged, at risk. Started boxing at the age of 13 in the Chicago housing projects. It was pretty rough. Latham Homes, not too far from Cabrini Green housing projects. And man, the rest was history. My older brother Hector was bringing a lot of beautiful trophies. He used to fight a lot in the Chicago Park District boxing shows as a youth. And me as a kid, I used to, admire my big brother bringing them beautiful trophies. And that's what motivated me to start boxing. And another thing, another fight that started motivating me is when my dad took me to his house to see the fight back in 1987, the super fight was Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvelous Marvin Hagler. That fight inspired me to start boxing as well. And I
I
got to
covered
meet
that
Hector.
fight, and it inspired many people in a great era for the sport at that
Yes.
time. Yeah, so I could understand that.
Yes. So that brought me a lot of motivation to do something for myself in my life. A kid living in the housing projects, nothing but gangs and drugs and madness that comes with it. But thank God boxing taught me to say no to gangs and drugs
Yeah,
and
boxing helped you as it not only
yes.
become a great fighter in the heavyweight division, but and you put up with all the politics and the dirt that goes along with it, as every fighter does.
Yep.
But Fred, you're one of those examples of a kid coming off the street and
Yep.
walking into the gym and then going on to bigger and better things. And that's why this sport is so great, isn't it?
Oh man, I love it. Yes, man. I'm just, thankful that I had the, God given talent to train hard to inspire myself, especially coming from the housing projects where, it's pretty much a dead end. It's gangs, drugs, uh, CHA property, and I was one of those victims. I got caught up in it, started drug dealing, and did my time, and the rest was history. Boxing taught me that, hey, that's it, man. This is my safe zone, and at the age of 13, I had my first fight in Chicago. Even though I was born in Puerto Rico, but I came to Chicago at the age of 1. My mom did the right thing, brought me to Chicago to get a better life. At that time, it's kind of third world in Puerto Rico, but I love my country. When I turned pro, I went back to my country, met the great Tito Trinidad and Papa Trinidad. It was a great moment for my career, for motivation. That little kid, from the housing projects was able to get, you know, in it with this legendary trainer and this legendary fighter that gave me a lot of kudos to keep keep going in the sport. And here I am today in the Hall of Fame. Getting a lot of accolades.
Yeah, that you were going to be inducted into the Illinois Boxing Martial Arts Hall of Fame. That's coming up when November. What's the date on that
Yeah, November
exactly again?
16th. So make sure you guys check it out.
Congratulations. It's well deserved. Now we got to
Thank you.
get you into the International Boxing Hall of Fame
Yes.
up in
Well,
Canastota. We got to make a push for that. I'm trying to get in
absolutely.
there myself. Not that I'm pushing it, but some
Uh,
people are trying to get me in there. 43 years in this business in boxing as well.
Absolutely. 100%.
It would be nice, but yeah, that's well deserved. Anytime you get a Hall of Fame distinction, no matter which one it is, and you truly deserve that. Fres Oquendo, former heavyweight champ and contender,
Yep.
talking right out of from Chicago, Illinois, where he resides now out of Puerto Rico. And speaking about Puerto Rico and the heritage and the history of the fighters that come from the island, why and how? And I had an idea because I'm doing this documentary on this now, and there's so many greats of Puerto Rico and the descent, and that have become champions and still today dominate the sport, contenders. How does that happen? Why?
It's a blessing. We're like freak of nature. I mean, a little small island with just a couple of million people, to generate so many world Hall of Fame champions in history, and for me to be one of them, it's an honor. That I was born in this beautiful island that other people think is garbage, but I don't want to get into the politics, but it's a beautiful country. It made me what I am today. Nothing to say wrong about Chicago. I'm from the Chi, was raised. But if I would have stayed here, I probably would have got caught up with the guns and drugs
Mm.
and all the madness. But man, I ended up, getting a blessing from Papa Trinidad, Tito Trinidad, one of the icons at the time. And man,
How was it? How is it dealing with? Tell us more. Your experiences working with Papa Trinidad and Tito. Tell us briefly about that experience and how good that was.
Oh, it was a great experience. I was able to, leave the outskirts of Chicago housing projects where I was born. I mean, where I was raised. I was born in Puerto Rico, but where I was raised, it was pretty rough, and I didn't have no outlet. And thank God, one of my dad's friend that we knew in the industry in Chicagoland. He reached out to Papa Trinidad, and next thing you know, Papa Trinidad heard about me. He seen some of my Golden Glove fights, and man, he was like, wow, and then he seen some of my up early pro fights. I ended up signing in 1997. I signed with America Presents at the time, which the promoter was Matt Tinley and Dan
Yes, I
Goose.
remember that well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dan Goose, and may he rest in peace. They
Mm.
gave me a great, opportunity. They signed me up, and it was a great ride, and once my contract was almost expired, then I got the opportunity, to leave to, Puerto Rico to train with Tito Trinidad and Papa Trinidad, and that's when I signed, pretty much on Soul of the Devil, the figure of speech. But I signed with Don King, Tito was with Don King at the time, and I just always wanted to be in the limelight, as a kid growing up, in the projects, and to show people that you can make it. There's no shortcut success.
Talk about Don King, Hall of Fame promoter, Bob Arum, Hall of Fame promoter.
Mm-hmm,
Those guys were the staples of the sport and
mm-hmm,
basically were running boxing back then when you fought and years
mm-hmm,
before. And
mm-hmm.
still, it's more, Arum's still very active with Top Rank.
Yeah.
What were your experiences like? And you came right now, if you were in the sport, you'd be making an awful lot more money than you did.
Oh man, I wish, because I ended up going to see the
So I know you'd want to turn the clock back, but you
Yes, I
can't.
do, because I ended up getting a chance to meet with Turkey, the guy from Saudi Arabia. I had the chance to see Anthony Joshua when he conquered his heavyweight
Yeah.
championship again
What
with
did you think of
Anthony.
him, and what do you think the direction of the sport is going with
Oh,
the
it's a great
Turk?
thing.
And
I wish we
I
had
call them
that.
the kings and princes with all the money. Is it good for the sport? What do you
It is
think?
absolutely, because now the fighters get paid their whole bag. The promoters and the management, they get their little chump change from them, and they're treating the fighters right. The fighters finally getting paid. I mean, look at Big Baby Miller. Had a couple of fights. He made man close to 5 million already.
Yeah.
Two fights that he didn't even win.
What was the highest purse, if you don't mind me asking, if you want to say it, that you made as a heavyweight,
Well,
fighting for the title and so forth? What was
yeah,
your
it
highest
was.
purse?
Yeah, my Purse was supposed. Well, it was 1.17, around there in the mills. But
But
Don
not
King.
5 million that you could be making now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was today nowadays, if I was fighting, oh yeah, I'll be a multimillionaire. Absolutely.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the disparity. Different eras. In though
Yep.
the
Missed
sport
the
that I
bus.
was
I
just.
missed the bus.
Yeah. Yeah. And how old are you now?
I'm in the 50 club now, man. I'm in the 50. So, I
Oh,
still keep myself in shape, train with the
yeah.
kids, myself. You see my social media, Facebook, Instagram. You
Yeah.
see
We're
I'm
gonna
not.
have you. I'm gonna have you plug all your how people could stay in touch with. Because when I told boxing fans and friends, whatever, that you were coming on with me tonight, they were very excited, especially those I have in Puerto Rico that love you. They follow
Oh,
you. They still do.
oh yeah, they showed me mad love. My people in Puerto Rico, I gave them a lot of glory. Went back to my home birth, and it was a great ride. When I was with Tito Trinidad and Papa Trinidad, and then I came back to the States and started training with Freddie Roach, with the great Roach, and I had a
There
great
you
ride
go. Hall of
while I
Fame
was there.
renowned trainer.
Yep.
No,
I was a great.
with Canelo Alvarez and Jaime
Yeah.
Munguia now, just a great
Yep.
trainer. He's in the Hall of Fame. How was it? What did Freddie Roach teach you more than than Trinidad, or was it same? Was it different?
It was pretty much the same. It taught me a lot of confidence, for that great of a coach to have so much confidence in me, knowing that I could beat Evander Holyfield. That spoke volumes. And he was right. Even though, right, a couple days before the fight, I had 130 degrees fever. No excuse, but I wasn't 100%. And I still gave him the blues. I still outpointed Holyfield. I still hit him more than he hit me. But,
Yeah,
politics, he was a
the
promoter.
Holyfield fight was interesting. I was going to ask you. You jumped ahead on that. Talk about that fight with Evander Holyfield because heavyweights that I talked to that fought Evander Holyfield said he gave them competition. Do you agree?
Well, against me, if you see the fight, I mean, I out punched him. Even the CompuBox had me out punching him and outlanded him and out
Right.
jabbing him, of course. And he was the promoter of the fight. And you know, I got again, black guy out of boxing, and I keep it moving. In the world seeing it. He always showed me mad respect. When we see each other. In the WBC in the conventions. 'Cause, right now I'm with the WBC. I'm what do you call I'm part of it.
Emeritus. You're an
Yeah.
emeritus with them. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right, 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 right. Ambassador. So I'm a VP
Right.
of the WBC. So I work with a lot of youth, and I take them over with a lot of up and coming pro talent, get them ranked. So I go to the convention every year.
Are there too many sanctioning organizations? I call them alphabet soup. Too many
Yeah,
of them. That's what causes so much division in this sport. And we
Yep.
understand and we know sanctioning organizations and the fees are a backbone of the sport and it's being done. But I think they're just one too many of them. That's why fans, even a fan of the sport, can't identify who the champion is.
Yeah, that's so true. It's just sad that they got all these belts, the WBO and all that. Yeah, the one I mainly recognize and we respect, of course, the WBC.
Yeah, they're
And
the oldest and most reputed. I agree with that.
yes,
What has to be done, Fres Oquendo, my guest on Keep It in the Ring, the great heavyweight out there in Chicago, Illinois now, who did a lot for the sport, still does. What has to be done to unify this sport? I asked former fighters and current fighters that same thing. What do you think has to be done to unify this sport so everyone's on the same page?
well, that's why they got that guy, the Turkey guy from Saudi Arabia. He's
And do
doing
you think
some.
he's doing that? Do you think he's trying to do that?
No, not trying. He's trying, yeah, because he's got the money. So now he's talking about buying, pretty much the sanctioning body. That's what I overheard, which is shocking.
Mhm.
Holy cow!
There's a rumor about that. Yeah.
Yeah, you heard
Yeah.
about it too? Yeah.
I
So
heard it also. Yeah. I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know if he's going to be able to do that still with Bob Arum out there, but Eddie Hearn would probably be for it because he works very handily with Eddie Hearn.
yes.
Um, yeah. What do you think of Eddie Hearn?
Oh no, he's cool. I seen him there at the in Saudi Arabia at the fight back in 2019. Recognized me. He said, "Hey, what's up, Okendo?" Because I was supposed to fight Big Baby Miller around that time, and So he was going to be the promoter. Actually, when it was in Chicago at the Wintrust Arena back in 2000 and 17, I believe. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
supposed to get a fight with Baby Miller, but they didn't want to, do their drug testing. Now you see why. Baby Miller got popped several times.
Right, right. Yeah.
And
Well, I've always looked at that and say, this guy got suspended, came back, just like Ryan Garcia does. Well, why do
yeah,
fighters do that, Frez? Why do fighters that do things like that, even Ryan Garcia, what do they think they're getting out of that? Why do they
well,
do it?
perfect example. I'm a poster child of it. I was supposed to fight Shannon Briggs for the vacant WBA heavyweight championship. I'm pretty sure you remember I was supposed to fight Shannon several times.
Right,
And he tested positive, and it's crazy. I was talking to his former promoter, uh, Chris Lawrence. He was the promoter of Heavyweight Factory in Hollywood, Florida. And
right.
he's like, man, Shannon was terrified of you, Fres. That dude had to take steroids. And he got popped. I told him, if he keeps doing that, he's not gonna support him. And yeah, he came clean and said, yeah, Shannon
D-
is
Yeah.
he had
Because
it.
Shannon Briggs was always in controversy during your era as well.
Yeah,
Is it what like does is it detrimental
yeah,
to another in the ring, because that's what Devin Haney's lawsuit is against Ryan Garcia, saying it was detrimental to his livelihood, to everything, to his life.
yeah, because he
Is
could have
it
got hurt.
detrimental?
Yeah, I mean that's like commit battery. Yes, 100%. He's got a great chance. Like myself, I end up suing Shannon Briggs and his trainers, and I won, but unfortunately I didn't get the money. These jackass my former promoters, John Work, got it. And they treat fighters like trash. That's why I thank God I'm an advisor to kids. I'm an ambassador of WBC, and I do what's well for the fighters.
Do you tell this to the kids when you get in there? How one thing, the sport can be dangerous, as all combat
Yep,
sports are.
yep,
But the dirty politics that go on in this sport, do you tell them about that?
absolutely, 100%. They seen it themselves. Their parents tell them, "Oh, Fred Oquendo, oh yeah,
Yeah,
King got him, this and that." The only promoter I can say that was pretty cool was America Present. Dan Goose, may he rest in peace. They're the one that
right.
got
Good
me in
man. He's a
22
good
moving
man.
street. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
good
rolling my career
man.
pretty high.
What about, in your opinion, right now in the heavyweight division? We got Usyk Fury rematching to supposedly unify these titles again, December 21st, again in Saudi Arabia. Who do you like in that rematch?
Well, if Taylor Fury, if he takes that clown mask off, that clown mode that he showed in the first fight, which cost him the fight, he could have won it, but he started having his hand in the back, thinking he's the magician, but that proved, that kind of took his championship. I mean, Tyson Fury is a decent fight. I mean, good, talented boxer for his height, his weight, but he's got to take it serious, man. He can't be out there clowning around with his hands in the back, toying with fighters. You got to take this fight serious,
Who wins? Who wins the rematch?
man. I like for Fury to win, but we'll see because he took a lot of punches, a lot of beatings in the last several fights. From the Deontay Wilder, these other fights. He took a lot of, and then Usyk, he took a lot of beatings in that fight. So I don't know if it'll be the same. It's like a pick'em fight.
On the other side, you have Daniel Dubois, who would be probably the guy that fights either one of them next. What do you think of Daniel Dubois?
Oh man, he's a great, humble champ, young champion. He's only in his 20s, and it's interesting because my brother, when he seen him fight in Florida, when he knocked out Don King's fighter, forgot his name, for the WBA regular title, the title I was supposed to fight when I was supposed to fight Shannon Briggs and Manuel Char, and they both tested positive for steroids. Um, Very humble kid, man. Very humble and strong, very strong. My brother seen him in person in Hollywood, in Florida.
Mm.
And yeah, the kid is strong, man. But he remembered me when he told my brother, "Yeah, I seen your brother fight. He's a big fan of mine, and I'm so happy for the kid, man. He's evolved. He's gotten better every fight. He's gotten better and better. He stopped Big Baby Miller just to name a
Yeah,
few, and man, he's doing good.
he's
I
got the
want to,
potential to
yeah,
be the champion soon.
yeah.
They
I
may
mean, he
get the
is the
winner
champion.
in the new year. Get the winner of that. Do you like Usyk style, the Ukrainian. What is so good about Alexander Usyk that's made him a champion out of
He's
the
a good
Ukraine?
he's a good defensive fighter. Good defense, mobile with his hands up. So you know, he shoots that jab first, and yeah, that could be a asset for him. But like me, when I fought southpaws, I always do great against southpaws. I would have had a field
Mhm.
day with him. Like when I fought Chris Burr, the most elusive southpaw in
Another
history.
guy you
And,
fought, and it was a
yeah,
good
game the
fight
blue.
too. Yeah,
Exactly. And
he's
we fought
among
back in the
there. I tell you, you had some career. Besides the 38 wins, you had 24 knockouts.
Yep,
So as soon as
yep.
you went in the ring there and you went in to dispose the opponents, the record shows that.
Yeah, yeah.
Rather than go into those judges, those three blind mice, where you don't know
Exactly.
what's gonna
Yeah,
happen. So you got to go in there and
exactly.
you got to knock the guy out, make it
Yep,
decisive.
that's how boxing is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's how
And you
my
did
mother
that
told me.
job very well.
Thank you.
Fres Oquendo, won't keep you much longer. This has been great, and we can go on and on and on. We're going to
I know.
talk more and stay more in touch
Right.
because we got to talk because I'm old
Yes.
school. Everyone
Let's do
knows
that.
that. And we're
Absolutely.
going to do that. I got to ask you about, though, another heavyweight fight. It's going on record. It's going to be, I don't hype it up. I'd rather talk about Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor rematching on the Jake Paul Mike Tyson Netflix, where all the money is. Okay.
Yes.
Um, I'm not into that fight. I don't think Mike Tyson should be fighting again, even
I
though these are
know.
going to be 2-minute rounds with gloves that are not a regular standard gloves that they're going to use.
Uh,
2-minute rounds, I think, but yet they're counting it as a fight. I think Jake Paul, who says he has to fight the best to be the best because he says he's the best. All right. I think if he keeps doing this, he's never going to be considered the real thing in the sport, the real fighter in the sport.
you're
Your
right.
thoughts on that, Dad? And I want your thoughts about why is Mike Tyson doing this?
Well, I don't know if you've seen my social media posts recently on Facebook, Instagram. I called out Jake Paul several times. He looked at my Instagram, he repeated some of his people from Florida. A lot of people advise him, don't mess with Fres. He's still dangerous. Even though he's 50 now, but that man ain't no Mike Tyson. That guy is fresh, fresh. But he won't fight real fighters. I was hoping, I was calling him out. So I don't know if you're familiar with that. You see it in my
I
social
am.
media.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, calling him out. But he didn't bite on the bone, but that's okay. Hopefully, Tyson, do it. But again, he's 60, almost 60, so it's
He looks good from the videos in the
yeah, but
gym and the
yeah,
training, and he looks like he's in great shape. My question is,
Mhm.
can he sustain and get out of it if he really gets hit to the head? It's
I
dangerous.
know that's the thing. At his age, advanced age, I mean, it's seriously something to think about. But the Mike Tyson that I knew that I fought in the undercard when he fought Francois Botha back in 1999, I fought right after him in the swing bout. That's when I beat Duckworth, the 1996 Olympic bronze medalist from Nigeria. I don't know if you're familiar. I ended up
I
upsetting
am.
Duncan Worry, and he was supposed to be like the next great, Joe Frazier. And I was talking to Del Torrance, the great trainer Del Torrance in Vegas. Hey, he told me, he met with uh, uh, Del Torrance, ended up talking to Worry from
Mhm.
Nigeria, and it was good talking to that trainer. But yeah, it was a great memory, and it was a great fight. And Mike Tyson, he was good back then. I mean, he's something now, like you say, he looks pretty good today in age. He's got the money and keeps him in good health. He's got to train. He's been training hard. He even
Do you
spars.
ever think about getting involved in some of those type of shows?
Yes, yes, I
I'm
mean,
sure
absolutely.
promoters give you a pitch. Come on back, you'll make a lot of money. What do
Yes,
you
I want to
tell
get.
them?
Oh, absolutely, man. I'd love to get a little
So
fight.
you still got the juices flowing in you to do another
Absolutely.
fight.
Yes, absolutely.
Are
Hopefully,
you healthy enough to do that?
absolutely, 100%. Yes, way healthier. Again,
Oh, it looks like you're in good shape.
I mean,
Looks like
Tyson's what in the 60s.
he's
I'm
gonna be 60
50.
years old. Yeah.
I'm over 10 years, younger than him, and I'm still active, and I do my little sparring, shadow box, all that good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think I could, give Jake Paul the blues 100%.
No, I don't think he's a legitimate fighter, and he
Right.
looks like a heavyweight now. He put on a lot of weight, but I
Oh,
think
he
he's
did.
just there for the money. Social
Yep.
media phenom, people
Yep.
buying into it, and people are going to buy into this fight, Frez,
Yep.
because it's Mike Tyson, it's Jake
Yep.
Paul, and I
Yes.
have no interest in it. Again, I just Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, who I
That's it.
admire out of Puerto Rico, who's done a
Yep.
lot for females in the sport, put them on the map,
Yep.
talented as well. Real quick before I let you go. This guy that is in the back of me here on the set fades in and out. Xander Zayas, next rising star from Puerto Rico at 154.
Yeah, he's pretty talented, that kid. Yeah, and he's very. He's on a winning streak now. Very impressive in his winning, and yeah, he could be a force in the I believe 154-pound division.
154, tough division.
Yeah, very tough
Terrence
division.
Crawford's in there, Sebastian Findura, Charlo, so forth.
Yes, so I
Yeah,
look forward. Yeah, I look forward to him fighting
yeah.
that 7-footer kid.
Well,
Yeah,
you got to
Fandora.
catch him when he fights in New York again next year, and you got to come in and
Yeah,
be my guest and watch him fight up close to ringside with Top Rank. Oh,
yeah.
and on that subject of top pound per pound. People like to compare fighters. And I
Mhm.
talked about Terrence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, made an awful lot of money in this sport, continues to do it fighting 2 times a year.
Yeah.
Who do you see top fighter right now in the sport? Is it Canelo? Is it Terrence Crawford? Is it Onoe from Japan? Is it someone else?
It's Crawford and Canelo by far. And that kid, Kanoe, whatever from Japan, yeah,
Onoe, yeah.
he's a monster. They call him a monster.
And
So
but people don't know him much because he
no,
doesn't fight here. Fights
no,
mostly in
in
Japan.
Japan, yeah. So those edges go to Crawford and Canelo.
Fres Oquendo, the great heavyweight who's being inducted into the Illinois Boxing Martial Arts Hall of Fame, has a
Yes, sir.
boxing academy there in Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah.
Uh, but before you go, you got to take the fact of the week with Rich Mancuso. I do it with every guest on my program. I give you a
Cool.
shot at getting the fact of the week.
Let's do it.
All right, let's put it up, Scott. Fact of the week, and give it to Fres Oquendo this week. And here we go. And I think it's this pretty easy one for you. It's not trivia, as I tell everyone, it's a fact. And
Right,
it
right.
deals with a heavyweight champion who said
Okay.
this. He said this. This heavyweight champion, Hall of Fame, has said this. Boxing is sort of like jazz. The better it is, the less people will appreciate it. He's comparing boxing and music together, jazz, which he loved very much. Hall of Famer. You can take a crack. What heavyweight champion said that?
Well, boxing is a sweet science, so it is a artistic sport, and it's not an easy sport. So it is pretty interesting that he said that it kind
Would you
of
know who it is? You
resonates.
want to take a crack at who it was? You know him really well.
Oh, really? He was a heavyweight champion?
Yes.
What year? What era?
Oh, he fought into his an era of like 2, 3 decades, maybe two. Oldest at one point heavyweight champion of the world.
Oh, George Foreman.
There you go. I gave it away.
Yeah, Big George. He announced my heavyweight championship fight with Chris Bird. He said that was the
Yeah.
last fight he was gonna announce because it was a tragedy that night when I beat the heavyweight champ Chris Bird, who admitted on his podcast, one of the podcasts, Chris Bird admitted that
Great
Fred
George
was champion.
Foreman. No one
Yeah,
could
the great
top
George
him.
Foreman. Yeah.
Fought until I think he was 40, close to 50 years old, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
But he was
Yeah.
healthy
Yeah.
enough to continue to do it.
Yeah.
And he did
Yeah.
it well. And he did it well, just like you did. And you
Thank you.
continue to be an important factor
Yes, sir.
and role model to many in this
Thank you.
sport that
Yes,
we call
absolutely.
boxing.
Yep.
Okay. And Fres Oquendo, again, being inducted into the Illinois Boxing Martial Arts Hall of Fame. Congratulations. And
Thank
has
you.
a great fight academy there in Chicago, Illinois,
Yes, indeed.
teaching the basics and right dues, right from wrong for the young people. That's another great thing that you're doing. Keep that up.
Absolutely.
And also tell everyone out there on the program, Keep It in the Ring, where they can find you. We have your Instagram up and your Facebook right now. And where else can people get in touch with you,
Yeah,
Frez?
please make sure you contact me on Instagram, Fres Oquendo. My name, simple, Fres Oquendo, and then my boxing academy, FOBA Foundation. That's my Boxing Canada help all these underprivileged, at-risk youth, preventing youth violence through boxing.
That's the great Fres Oquendo. I'm a
Thank
great
you, brother.
heavyweight. I covered a few of his fights,
Yeah,
and he's continuing being. He's out there. He's become a role model for the sport.
that's
And the
right.
heavyweight division is one of the places that he reigned at one point in his great career. My friend, thank you. Keep it in the ring. I'll be in touch.
Thank you, my brother. God bless.
This was great. Fres Oquendo. And that was really great. And we touched on the basics. We did everything. And I'm sure we're going to stay in touch with Fres and wish him continued success. And again, congratulations on an induction into that Hall of Fame martial arts boxing in Chicago, Illinois. All right. Let's continue the discussion. And Rich Mancuso, keep it in the ring. Log on my YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Also get my social media. Bottom of the page. Bottom is always scrolled. X, Twitter, Facebook. And read my content as well on Latino Sports, Dream Punk Entertainment, New York Sports Day. And let's continue. Let's do another UFC note before we go to the pro wrestling quick. UFC featherweight champ at UFC 38, Top Warrior. I don't know if you saw this one in Dubai, out there in where the Kings and Princes are over the weekend. Youngest champ at 27, knocked out Max Holloway. First time Holloway was knocked out. It was a good one if you saw it. A left hook. He finished with the hammer fist, third round. First title defense for Topuria, but now he's injured, and he might be out a little while and injured in the fight. And Bilal Muhammad, UFC welterweight champ, I believe here. He says that might be his next title defense at UFC 310. He's out with an infection in his foot, so he won't be fighting at UFC 310 coming up. UFC, of course, if you're a fan of it and active with it more than I am, they go by numbers. And they're going to have a big one coming up, Madison Square Garden, New York City, November 16th this month, or the 17th, 16th. I hope to be there to see that. And I want to see John Jones. I want to talk to him about Ngannou and Dana White and get his opinions on all that stuff. So more UFC notes next week because their calendar's picking up to close out the year, which has been a stellar year for the MMA as well. All right. The pro wrestling talk, a lot of that. First, let's take a look at the WrestleMania poster that's been leaked out. And notice in the front, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. They're supposedly headed towards their clash at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas coming up in April of the new year, a 2-night event in mid-April. And there's some of the principles that might be involved in WrestleMania coming up. One person who might be out of it is Rhea Ripley. We got a report today. She's out indefinitely, and she really got hurt. Raquel Rodriguez in the angle on NXT Tuesday during the week put the eye socket of her. She was severely hurt, and she might be out for a while, which breaks up everything that they wanted to do coming into Crown Jewel this weekend with Liv Morgan and Nia Jax. The Crown Jewel Saturday in Saudi Arabia promises to be a good one. I think they got 7 matches this time on the card Saturday. I believe it's Saturday morning, Peacock Network, WWE Crown Jewel. They're doing this thing with the 2 titles, Crown Jewel, that'll be defended now once a year only, because the Kings and Princes of Saudi Arabia over there in pro wrestling, they want to do it that way. Crown Jewel Saturday, Cody Rhodes and Gunther. They're going to fight for the men's version of this Crown Jewel title. But more so, you could see somebody interfering here. Goldberg, rumored to going to be there and might get involved in it and maybe cause Rhodes to win this. And then they'll set up a one-time Goldberg-Gunther match at some point, whether it be probably Royal Rumble time. They might decide to do that. I'm looking for Cody, though, to win this, but I think Goldberg might play an impact in it if indeed he's there. And you're going to see Nia Jax and Liv Morgan, who I can't stand, and Tiffany Stratton involved in that. And where does Raquel Rodriguez stand in that now? They might have to play around with that angle because supposedly, as is reported today, that Rhea Ripley is out and hurt, won't be there. So, and then she was going to be in the mix of this somehow to try to get the title back from Liv Morgan with Dirty Dom involved as well. But it's going to be a good one. Seth Rollins and Johnson Reed is going to be a brawl. But that's going to set up something here where I think Reed will win and go on. But Rollins is facing CM Punk inevitable in the new year. But they've been building up Rollins and Reed for months now. And the brawling and annihilation that Bronson Reed does. So that's going to be good to watch at Crown Jewel. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. That's a match I'm looking forward to. Where is this headed? Does Cody Rhodes get involved, or do either one get involved with Cody Rhodes? There's a lot of talk here that Randy Orton could have Cody Rhodes at some point soon. And Kevin Owens plays a fascinating heel. So that's going to be a good one. Cody Rhodes, where does he stand with all this? The U.S. title. Three guys. Knight, LA Knight, Andrade, who's finally getting a shot at something in the months he's been back in WWE, and Kamala Hayes. Knight's going to win, but it's probably going to set up something with Andrade and Kamala Hayes down the line soon. And Damage Control, Fatal 4 with Bianca and Cardell for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. And here I can see definitely happening something wrong that's going to cause Bianca and Cardell maybe to lose the titles to Damage Control. And you could see here the split up that's been rumored between Bianca and Cardell. Jay Cargill. So look for that. The Crown Jewel is going to be really good. And most of all, Jey Uso with Roman Reigns, that bloodline, original bloodline together. Is Paul Heyman going to be around? That's going to be interesting. Will Brock Lesnar be around? As the new bloodline with Solo Sikoa and Haku and all the others that he's got, do they bring in someone else? Regardless, they're setting up for War Games Survivor Series next up in Vancouver and to see who the real tribal chief is. To see the Uso brothers together again with Roman Reigns, and is Sami Zayn going to be involved in this? I think, my friends, you're going to see a really good WWE PLE event Saturday in Saudi Arabia with Crown Jewel. Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt Six, they're back in the mix, finally. And they've been milking it to get them back, and they're going to be there. And it looks like the New Testament and the Wyatt Six will get a few in there because the Miz was kidnapped by the Wyatt Six. And the Miz had been with the New Testament, aligning with them. Something building there. Something building more with Kobe Kingston and Xavier Woods. They're going to break up. That's happening. Again, look for Goldberg, Gunther, eventually in WWE. And Vince McMahon. Reportedly, the man under investigation and with a lot of lawsuits around him is starting up a new entertainment company, believe it or not, with movies, TV, production, all types of lawsuits. But Vince McMahon has not had enough. He's probably, with all the troubles and health issues he has, looking to start up a new production company. Details emerging from that daily, so we'll keep you updated on that. AEW getting ready for Full Gear, November 23rd, Prudential Center, Newark, New Jersey. Swerve Strickland, all right? He beat Shelton Benjamin, but Bobby Lashley, who had been rumored to be signed months ago, debuted on Dynamite. You saw that Wednesday night with MVP. They've formed their new business called... not the Hurt Business. Whatever it is. They're their new version of the Hurt Business. And now you have MVP and you have Benjamin, and they're trying to lure Swerve Strickland in. And I think eventually that's what's going to be forced on him. And that's going to be a powerful faction in AEW. Well, MVP was a great addition, great pickup. And how about Orange Cassidy challenging the champion, AEW champ Jon Moxley? Developing. MJF on a little break, but we'll be back in full force. A lot going on in AEW as they get ready for Full Gear. We'll update you more next week. What's going on with them? Well, more AEW news coming in. Suddenly, they are making moves and big ones because their story angles are better. That's what he'll do with Tony Khan, and he's doing it. He's listening to you, the fans, and AEW seems to be, even though they're attendance at arenas are still not that great and their ratings are not doing that great, they're making an impact again. And in the new year, there might be a lot going. But Full Gear, November 23rd, next pay-per-view. All right, nostalgia coming up next. We'll take a last and brief time out. And Happy Halloween coming too. I'm Rich Mancuso. This is Keep It in the Ring. Stay with us. Back in a moment.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
Scott, Scott Church and my producer, I got to tell him this hour flying by fast. We're going to go a little over tonight. Thank Fres Oquendo, who did a great job, former heavyweight champion, and still doing great things. And I'm going to stay in touch with him. That was great having him. But Scott, as always, thank you again. And just everything is a muck here on Halloween. I mean, I got things all over the place here. Things dropping as I always do. My mic piece here on my headset come off again. It's because I'm tired. I worked 3 straight games at Yankee Stadium, hours, and I don't know how I'm doing it, but I'm here. No pun to the Yankees. They tried, but they failed. Epic loss, though. Terrible. Nostalgia time. Enough of that. With the pro boxing, let's go back to November 5th, 1994. There he was. George Foreman becomes boxing's oldest heavyweight champ, as I discussed in the fact of the week. Knocked out Michael Moore in 10th round in Las Vegas. Moore dominated most of the fight, but Foreman dropped him with the right that he was known for in the 10th, known as knockout of the year. Back then, November 5th, 1994. November 6th, 1981, Larry Holmes, Hall of Famer, another great heavyweight. We're on the heavyweight theme tonight, aren't we? 11th defense of his WBC heavyweight title, 11th round TKO over the Ronaldo Snipes in Pittsburgh. I covered that fight. Snipes was from the Yonkers, New York area, so I knew him well, and I covered that fight. Holmes knocked Snipes down in the 7th round with a right, came back, and then the undefeated Snipes lost. Snipes was a great heavyweight contender at one time. Almost beat Larry Holmes. There was controversy there with the hand wraps. If you can go back and you look at it on YouTube. But Ronaldo Snipes almost made boxing history back then on November 6th, 1981. And then this, coming up, the anniversary of this fight, if you remember, or if you never saw it, go and look it up, because it was one of these weird and wacky things that happened in pro boxing during the fight. And that was Evander Holyfield and Riddick Bowe. And I was there to cover this. I remember it very much. We'll never forget it. Majority decision goes to Holyfield in Las Vegas at Caesars Palace. The outdoor Caesars Palace Arena was a mecca of championship fights at one time, especially in the 80s, and Evander Holyfield was a part of this outdoor fiasco because a parachuter came out of nowhere right into the ring and caused mayhem. The fight was delayed. They had to resume it, which is not a good thing for any fighter to go through. It breaks their momentum. But this became a part of boxing history. A parachuter disrupting a heavyweight title fight out of nowhere. Caesars Palace. That would never happen today in an outdoor arena because of the security and the drones and all that. But that's what the mayhem was caused. And there you see a part of it. Luckily, no one got hurt. No fans that were there at ringside, media at ringside, or the 2 fighters. But the parachuter got arrested and became famous because of that. I'm not even going to name his name. But that's a part of boxing history. And we'll never forget that bizarre night at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, Riddick Bowe and the great Hall of Famer, Evander Holyfield. All right, so it's Halloween night, right? And so in the spirit of Halloween, Boxing has had some shows on Halloween as well, but I had my little Halloween moment this week at Yankee Stadium unexpectedly. Scott, put that image up. You see, this is local Channel 7 ABC New York. There's Ryan Field, ABC Channel 7 Eyewitness News sports commentator. And you see that guy on the left with the bald head and the glasses? Well, I unexpectedly got into his live camera shot. And the worst thing you want to do when you're doing live shoots, especially on a field at the World Series, is, you got to pass and run and go what you got to do. But you don't want to get into someone's live camera shot unexpectedly. I didn't know that was happening. Someone sent that was watching, saw me and said I was famous, which I'm not. My apologies to Ryan Field, but happy Halloween, Ryan. Because there I was on ABC. I always wanted to be on ABC Channel 7 Eyewitness News. My good friend there, co-anchor as well, Anthony Johnson, is a friend of mine. And Ryan's friend, and I apologize, and Ryan got a kick out of it. AJ got a kick out of it when I told him, because AJ and I, Anthony Johnson, do some boxing stuff together. We did the last couple of years locally in New Jersey, and so I got to know him well. But I told him both, I'm sorry, it happens. But happy Halloween! There I was, Rich Mancuso, finally on ABC Channel 7 near Ryan. That was, I thought it was funny, but never do it. Try never to get into a live shot when you're not supposed to be there in my business or you as a regular fan. All right. We got to wrap this down real quick. Thanks again to Fres Oquendo. That was a great segment with you. Continue luck to a champion going into a Hall of Fame in Chicago, Illinois. Thank you, Scott Churston. Great job. Puts up with me each and every week. Thank you, my friends out there, my supporters. Keep it in the ring each and every week here live on my YouTube channel. And don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Keep it in the ring. And also with the AGT Network, String Punk Entertainment, and also Keep It in the Ring page like that as well. We do this every week for you. And I love doing it as well, as I tell you all the time. We'll be back next week. We'll update what's going on in the boxing world, MMA, some more of that. Of course, recap WWE, Crown Jewel, and much more. You all stay healthy, be well, and be good to each other, as I tell you every week. And until next week, right here, I'm Rich Mancuso. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep it in the ring.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go.